It was a nice little after Thanksgiving treat for Syracuse football fans. An 11 a.m. Friday start for Syracuse's final regular season game of the year against our old friends who left for a while to be in the Mid-American Conference, the Temple Owls. Hoot hoot! Of course, it was Bill Cosby's alma mater, and when I saw Bill Cosby in concert one time, he talked about the rivalry. The Temple Owls are gonna spit out the orange seeds. Well, early on, it almost looked like Temple was gonna spit some orange seeds, but then Syracuse got rolling. It always seems to wonder me. Syracuse seems to start a little slow, then they come on like gangbusters. But if they face who I think they're probably going to face in the bowl, they can't be doing that. They fell behind Temple 10-0, but then came roaring back. Thanks to Mr. Smith, thanks to Mr. Gully, thanks to Mr. Amin Moore and their great running. And also Ryan Nassib looking like Donovan McNabb again with the passes, especially that pretty touchdown throw to Marcus Sayles. All in all, it was a pretty complete game against a team coached by an ex-SU assistant coach. Steve Adazio's the coach at Temple. Of course, his son is a backup Syracuse tight end. And they say Adazio, when he isn't coaching against Syracuse, is rooting for Syracuse. My kind of man, even if he is coaching the other team. But whatever, Syracuse ends the regular season on a high note. After midway through the season, me and others were calling for Marone's head. But Syracuse caught on fire down the stretch, with the exception of Cincinnati, to finish 7-5. Oh, we got a plane going overhead. Okay, that's going to add to the ambience. Well, we were 7-5. And now let's wait to see which bowl game we're going to be in. Both analysts for ESPN who project the bowls seem to project us going back to Yankee Stadium, to the New Era Pinstripe Bowl. One has us facing our old friends from the coal country. That's right, the ones who used to be in the Big East but now are in the Big 12. Dana Holgerson in West Virginia, a resumption of the Ben Schwartzwalder Trophy in the bowl game, but the other one projects Baylor to be playing Syracuse in the bowl game. Well, whatever team it is, Syracuse better not have that slow start. Both West Virginia and Baylor have good, high-potent offenses, but their defense sucks. Hell, West Virginia's defense allows about 40.6 points per game. Boy, Ryan Nassib better be licking their chops, but the defense better be up to the challenge. Geno Smith could pass all day against Syracuse, but let's hope. That could be a basketball score down in Yankee Stadium, or whichever bowl we're in. But you know, good season, Syracuse. And Doug Marrone, your job is safe for another year. And let's talk about coaches that are definitely on the hot seat. Chan Gailey, that seat has definitely got to be Southern fried under his Southern fried butt right now. What was that against Indianapolis? You're starting to lose me with some of this pathetic play calling. Seems as though you're becoming pretty predictable. You seem to telegraph things. What did that say? Beep, 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 beep. Ooh! Well, we gotta be less predictable with the play calling, Gailey. You seem to call screens a lot. Plus, also, it was maddening. We're inside a dome. We could have had Ryan Lindell attempt a 52-yard field goal. Now, it seemed as though you didn't have that much confidence in Lindell, but Lindell is pretty accurate from beyond 50 yards. Well, what was that? And also, I mean, Steve Johnson. He had a pretty 62-yard reception. But, he doesn't have the top-end speed. If you're a number one receiver, you're supposed to have top-end speed. And what about C.J. Spiller? He rarely touched the ball there in the third and fourth quarters. Boy, he was rarer than a half-done steak, especially touching the ball there in the second half. All that, plus also that stupid pass interference penalty there against Buffalo within the 2-minute warning. What did that do? Contributed to another Bills defeat. In the Dome Stadium that was only built 3-4 years ago, replacing a Dome Stadium that was only 24 years old. Well, what was the sense of building the Hoosier Dome anyway? 24 years, they already demolished it. Oh, brother. What happens with those Ursays? I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. Well, whatever. It was another loss, another stinging loss. 20-13 to Indianapolis. And of course, maybe we catch a break with Jacksonville coming to Orchard Park this week. Although Blaine Gabbert, who sucks as quarterback, he's on injured reserve. And our old friend, Chad Henne, is now the quarterback for Jacksonville. You don't know now. It looked as though an easy win was coming a couple weeks ago, but with Chad Henne leading the way for Jacksonville, you don't know whether Buffalo can beat Jacksonville now. I don't know if Buffalo can beat anybody, because for the 13th straight year, you can officially cross the playoffs off the list. Plus Chan Gailey and Buddy Nix, those seats are getting hot under your southern fried asses. Boy, it's really maddening. And let's go back to a good news, shall we? Oh, Syracuse's basketball team continued its nice little hot streak to open the season. We had 2 big wins. First against our Ivy League friends from New Jersey, the Princeton Tigers. A nice 73-53 win over the alma mater of Sandra Huxtable, if you remember the Cosby Show. Of course, she took that Princeton education and opened her own wilderness store. Sandra, you owe us $79,000 and I want my money now. Of course, when the Carril family were the coach of Princeton, Princeton used the slowdown game to pretty good effect. Heck, in the NCAA tournament all those years ago, Princeton nearly beat Georgetown. But alas, Princeton goes down for the 5th straight time to the Orange, 73-53. And then our old friends from 15 miles southeast of Syracuse, in the beautiful hills of Madison County, Hamilton, New York, paid their annual visit to the Dome. For the 165th time, Colgate played Syracuse. But what do Syracuse fans like to brush their teeth with? Why, Colgate, of course. And of course, we made short work of Colgate, and we rinsed it out. 87-51. Oh, got nice fresh breath now. Sorry, Tina, I had to say that. Oh, that's for a friend of mine who's a graduate of Colgate. Of course, she went the same time as a Donald Boyle played for Colgate, who was probably Colgate's best ever basketball graduate. Went on to a pretty good career in the NBA. But alas, an 87-51 drubbing by the Orange over Colgate. And what do we got on the docket coming up? Why, it's the Big East SEC Challenge, of course. We go down to Fayetteville, Arkansas to play the Razorbacks on Friday night. And next Monday night, we welcome back 2 old friends, Rob Murphy and DeShanti Riley. Murphy used to be an assistant coach for the Orange. Riley was a member of the Orange before he decided to transfer. It's Eastern Michigan coming to the Dome. And I'll be there in Section 104, but not the route, because traveling that route It's too dangerous. But keep it going, Orange Basketball. You got your usual fast start. Keep it going. And also, while I'm on another sports subject, let's talk about something that's kind of sad to talk about in a little bit, because I kind of wonder what's happened to all the great boxers. The last few weeks, we've seen the passing of Carmen Basilio, who was one of the great fighters of his era, and also just recently, the passing of a guy who, even though he was pretty flamboyant when I was a young kid, I liked to watch him box, Hector Macho Camacho, who was a victim of his own excess. Heck, he was shot in Puerto Rico, and at 50, he was too young to die. But what my point is, in the early 80s, boxing was all over television. Heck, you watched the Easton Assassin, Larry Holmes, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, Ray Boom Boom Mancini, and Bobby Chez, and a whole lot of great boxers. They used to be on ABC, CBS, NBC all the time. Then suddenly, something happened. Of course, the promoters kind of turned boxing almost into the WWF. And you know, boxing's reputation has definitely suffered. Heck, at the 1984 Olympics, we nearly won all the gold medals the U.S. did in boxing, with the exception of Evander the Real Deal Holyfield, who got robbed in his class. But I mean, at the last Olympics, no U.S. boxer won a gold medal. Hell, U.S. boxing has gone since 1984. And of course, everybody seems to care for that UFC or MMA type fighting. You know, I'm a purist. And I mean, when I was younger, I liked watching them put up their dukes. Something's got to change in it, because, you know, boxing used to be great. Let's bring it back. And of course, there's that dude up in Geneva who got the new house via Extreme Makeover Home Edition, who teaches boxing as a way for self-confidence. That's the way I feel. Let's get back to that, boys. And at last but not least for this week, boy, it's shopping season now that it's after Thanksgiving. We had Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and all the other things in between, and also on our way to Christmas. The almighty dollar is back at work. And you know, people at Walmart really didn't like having to report at 5 p.m. on Thanksgiving, because people just couldn't wait to buy their new toys. But you know, it seems as though every year there always are incidents, especially with people who can't wait to get that thing, plus people who don't want to wait in line and tempers flaring. And one thing I just learned, it was at a Walmart down south. This guy, I guess, tried to shoplift 2 TVs, but then 2 Walmart employees and a security guard for hire stopped him in the parking lot. When the police arrived, these 2 guys were on top of this guy, and the thing is, apparently, that this guy had no response, plus he was bleeding from his nose and his mouth. Could it be they decided, instead of trying to hold him for the police to question him, they decided to beat the shit out of him? Heck, that's a hell of a way to go. Yes, this guy was pronounced dead on arrival when they brought him to the hospital. Hey, Christmas shopping is not worth killing somebody. Hell, if you're an employee, you're supposed to hold them until the police arrive, not beat the shit out of them. What devil is this world coming to? Or as Buford T. Justice and Smokey and the Bandit would say, what in the hell is this world coming to? I'm gonna barbecue your ass. Well, that's my rants for this week. No rants for Syracuse football next week, although we could find out where Syracuse is going bowling in the next week or two. But let's keep going, Syracuse basketball, and let's get it together, Buffalo. I'm Ken Haas. That's my rants for this week, and I'm sticking to 'em.